What if some of Hollywood's brightest stars had their careers nearly destroyed before they even began? Before the world saw them as icons, they were just young girls, hiding secrets that could have shattered their fame forever. These shocking pregnancies, hidden in plain sight, are stories untold for decades. Who were the stars who battled both fame and motherhood? Stay tuned to uncover their untold truths and discover the high-stakes struggles that no one dared speak of. Loretta Young. Loretta Young's pregnancy was one of Hollywood's most scandalous secrets. At just 14 years old, she became pregnant by none other than Clark Gable. Their affair started during the filming of The Call of the Wild, 1935, a passionate but clandestine romance that led to a shocking outcome. Young, faced with the pressure of preserving her career, hid the pregnancy from the public. She secretly traveled to Europe to give birth, and upon her return, she claimed the child as her adopted daughter. The story would have remained hidden forever, but in 1962, the truth came to light in a tell-all book written by her daughter, who had been raised as Loretta's niece. The revelation shocked Hollywood, as the public was led to believe the child was adopted. Loretta's decision to keep the pregnancy and birth secret spoke volumes about the immense pressure women in Hollywood faced to maintain their carefully curated public images. Despite the scandal, Loretta's career remained intact, and she continued to act in both film and television for decades. Still, her pregnancy remained one of the most shocking and hidden aspects of her legacy, offering a glimpse into the darker side of fame during the Golden Age. Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo's name was synonymous with mystery, both on and off screen. Though never confirmed, many rumors swirled around the possibility that Garbo had a secret pregnancy at a young age. The Swedish-born actress, known for her serene and enigmatic persona, reportedly had a brief affair during her early career. There were whispers that she became pregnant, but she chose to keep the affair and its consequences hidden from the public. The rumors were fueled by Garbo's elusive nature. She lived a life full of secrecy, rarely giving interviews or revealing details about her personal life. Some biographers claim that the pregnancy may have been a result of a passionate affair she had with an unknown lover. Yet, this remains one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries. Given the societal norms of the time and Garbo's focus on maintaining her public image, it's likely that she chose to keep any potential pregnancy a secret to preserve her career. Though the details of Garbo's private life remain shrouded in secrecy, her status as one of Hollywood's most iconic and private stars only grew with time. Her pregnancy, if it indeed occurred, would have been yet another example of the lengths female stars had to go to keep their personal lives hidden from the prying eyes of the public. Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple's story of early motherhood is as surprising as it is inspiring. At just 16 years old, she was one of the most beloved child stars of Hollywood's golden age. It was in 1945, at the peak of her fame, that she married actor John Agar, and soon after became pregnant with their first child. Despite the media's obsession with her personal life, Shirley chose to start a family with her young husband. What makes Temple's story especially remarkable is the immense pressure she faced as a young star. At 16, she was a household name, and the public's fascination with her life only intensified after her pregnancy was revealed. With her youthful innocence and family-friendly image, Shirley had been adored by audiences worldwide. But the reality of motherhood at such a young age brought its own challenges. The media scrutinized her every move, making her decision to balance both her family and career even more impressive. Shirley Temple, however, remained determined to continue her work in the film industry after giving birth. She kept her acting career alive by appearing in films, even as she navigated the pressures of being both a mother and a young star. Though her marriage to Agar eventually ended in divorce, Shirley's ability to rise above these challenges and continue working is a testament to her resilience and strength. Her story serves as a reminder that fame doesn't shield anyone from the complexities of personal life, but it can be faced with grace and determination. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford's early pregnancy came at a time when she was already gaining recognition in Hollywood. At just 19 years old, she married actor Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and soon found herself pregnant. However, the pregnancy came with complications, not only in her personal life, but also in her career aspirations. Crawford's family reportedly did not approve of the pregnancy, and rumors circulated about the possible identity of the father, adding to the public drama surrounding her early motherhood. Joan's struggles with early motherhood were compounded by her strong desire to establish herself as a leading lady in Hollywood. Known for her fiery determination and ambition, Crawford faced immense societal pressure to maintain her glamorous image while also navigating the complexities of being a mother. Despite the challenges, she did not let her pregnancy derail her career. Joan Crawford went on to become one of the most iconic and scandalous stars of the Golden Age. Her motherhood, however, was far from conventional. Her approach to parenting, which was often described as cold and detached, later became infamous, and her complex relationship with her adopted children would shape her legacy in a way that outlived her stardom. Joan's early pregnancy, her subsequent marriage, and her determination to pursue a career in the entertainment industry highlighted the struggles women in Hollywood faced. She became a symbol of perseverance, pushing through personal sacrifices to create a lasting legacy that transcended the controversies surrounding her. Carole Lombard. Carole Lombard's pregnancy came at a time when she was still finding her footing as an established star. In her late teens, Carole married William Powell, and soon after, they found themselves expecting a child. However, the pregnancy ended in miscarriage, a loss that had a profound impact on Lombard, both personally and professionally. At the time, Carole was navigating the intense pressure of Hollywood, and the miscarriage was a devastating blow to her. Despite the loss, Lombard's career continued to soar. She would go on to become one of the most beloved actresses of her generation, known for her comedic timing and fearless personality. Yet, the early pregnancy and the tragedy of the miscarriage remained a hidden chapter of her life, known only to a select few. Hollywood's ability to compartmentalize its stars' personal lives meant that Carole's struggles often went unnoticed by the public, allowing her to maintain her glamorous image. Lombard's story reflects the deeply personal struggles many women in Hollywood faced during the Golden Age, struggles that were often hidden in the shadows to maintain an image of perfection. Carole's ability to overcome personal loss and continue with her career is a testament to the strength many of these young stars displayed during their formative years. Janet Gaynor. Before Janet Gaynor became a household name, she experienced the tumult of a young pregnancy. Gaynor, who had already achieved considerable success in silent films, became pregnant by her first husband, an actor named Charles Farrell, when she was still a young woman in her 20s. This pregnancy, though not widely publicized at the time, was part of her struggle to balance fame with the responsibilities of motherhood. In a time when actresses were expected to maintain a pristine public image, Janet's early pregnancy was seen as both a challenge and a potential scandal in the eyes of Hollywood. Despite this, Janet was determined to continue her career. She gave birth to a son, but remained largely focused on her acting career. The pressures of being a young mother in the spotlight made it difficult for Janet to strike a balance between family life and her professional aspirations. However, she did manage to continue her success, becoming one of the first winners of the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1929 for her role in Seventh Heaven. Janet Gaynor's early motherhood did not derail her career, but the experience revealed the often overlooked personal struggles faced by women in Hollywood during that era. Her ability to continue performing, despite the hardships of motherhood in the public eye, was a testament to her resilience and commitment to her craft. Marilyn Monroe. Though Marilyn Monroe's tragic story is often linked to fame, beauty, and emotional turmoil, all her early years were marked by an unintended pregnancy. At just 16 years old, Monroe, still under her birth name, Norma Jean Baker, was living in foster homes and facing instability in her life. In 1945, she became pregnant, though the details of the situation remain shrouded in mystery. Some accounts claim the pregnancy was the result of a brief affair with a neighbor, while others suggest it was a result of a relationship with a much older man. At the time, Monroe's pregnancy was met with confusion and fear. Given her age and the circumstances of her life, she underwent an abortion, which led to physical and emotional scars that would remain with her throughout her career. Monroe's early life and struggles were often buried by the media in favor of her glamorous image. But her experience as a young woman navigating early motherhood revealed the pressures faced by actresses in Hollywood during this time. Monroe's story, filled with both triumph and tragedy, mirrored the challenges many young women in the industry faced. Her early struggles with pregnancy and personal loss would go on to shape the complexity of her character, making her one of the most fascinating and tragic icons in Hollywood history. Anne Sheridan. Anne Sheridan was one of the most celebrated actresses of Hollywood's golden age, but her early life wasn't without its struggles. In 1938, when Anne was just 21 years old, she became pregnant during a brief marriage to actor Edward Norris. At the time, she was making her mark in Hollywood, having just signed a contract with Warner Brothers. Though Anne's career was beginning to take off, the pressures of an unplanned pregnancy in the public eye were immense. She was forced to quickly marry Norris, and the pregnancy became a public spectacle. However, the marriage didn't last, and the pregnancy ended in miscarriage. Despite this difficult and personal setback, Anne Sheridan's career continued to rise. She became known as the oomph girl for her sultry persona and powerful performances. Her personal experience with early motherhood and the public scrutiny that came with it highlighted the delicate balance female stars had to strike between personal life and their public image. Anne Sheridan's ability to continue in Hollywood after such a traumatic event spoke to the strength required of women in the industry. Her story is a reminder that behind the fame, the actresses often faced personal hardships that were rarely seen by the public, and their resilience allowed them to maintain their careers despite these struggles. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow's life was one of immense beauty and scandal, but behind her platinum blonde hair and sultry image, she faced heartbreaking personal struggles. At 19 years old, Jean married her first husband, Paul Byrne, a wealthy businessman much older than her. Their marriage, while initially a source of happiness for Harlow, soon became overshadowed by tragedy. Shortly after their wedding, Jean found herself pregnant, a moment that would change the course of her life. However, the joy of impending motherhood was short-lived. Jean tragically miscarried, a painful loss that left her devastated. At the time, Jean was already rising to fame as one of Hollywood's most sought-after stars, with roles in films like Hell's Angels, 1930, and Red-Headed Woman, 1932. Yet the emotional toll of her miscarriage weighed heavily on her, and she struggled with the pressures of Hollywood's relentless demands, which often required actresses to put personal pain aside for the sake of their careers. Despite this, Jean's marriage to Byrne was not without its issues. The couple's relationship was marked by emotional strain, and Byrne's mysterious death in 1932 added another layer of tragedy to her life. Through all the hardships, Jean Harlow's career continued to soar. Her transformation into one of the era's most iconic sex symbols was unstoppable, and her sultry on-screen presence masked the pain she carried within. Though the public remained largely unaware of her private heartache, Jean's personal struggles, including her miscarriage, haunted her, making her a symbol of the emotional burdens faced by women in Hollywood during that time. She went on to portray glamorous roles while navigating profound personal loss, and her ability to maintain such a public image, despite the turmoil in her personal life, remains one of the most tragic and powerful aspects of her legacy. Bette Davis. Bette Davis, one of Hollywood's most iconic and fiercely independent actresses, faced a myriad of personal challenges throughout her career. In 1939, at the height of her growing fame, Davis found herself pregnant by her second husband, Harmon Nelson. Despite the emotional bond she shared with Nelson, their marriage was fraught with difficulties. The pregnancy, though deeply wanted, came at a time when Davis was rapidly climbing to the top of Hollywood's elite. This posed a significant challenge, as Davis felt immense pressure to maintain her image and continue her career. The pregnancy ended in a miscarriage, a devastating blow to Davis, both emotionally and physically. At that time, the loss was something she had to endure largely in private, as Hollywood's unforgiving gaze made it difficult for women, especially successful actresses, to show vulnerability. Despite the immense pain of the miscarriage, Davis chose to persevere. She refused to let the personal tragedy interfere with her career and continued to work in film, establishing herself as one of the greatest actresses of her generation. Her determination to push through such a personal loss demonstrated her resilience, not only as an actress, but as a woman facing societal pressures that expected her to be strong and composed at all times. Davis's ability to overcome this early setback in her personal life speaks to her unyielding strength. She often spoke openly about the difficulties women faced in Hollywood, especially with the constant balancing act of career and family life. Her miscarriage was one of many personal struggles she faced in the spotlight, but it was also something that fueled her performances, giving her a raw, emotional depth that audiences and critics alike revered. The pain and heartbreak that Davis experienced during this time became part of the persona she later cultivated, a woman who fought for her right to be herself, regardless of the circumstances. This resilience became a defining characteristic of her legacy. It's making her an enduring icon, whose strength, both in her career and personal life, continues to inspire generations. These untold stories of Hollywood icons reveal the hidden struggles behind their glamour. From secret pregnancies to public scrutiny, these stars navigated immense personal challenges while maintaining their careers. Their resilience in the face of adversity continues to inspire, showing that even in the brightest lights, the shadows of personal hardship are never far behind.